ladies, my name is Jacksepticeye and welcome back to Detroit Become Human. I have no idea why I just started saying the title of the game in a French accent every time. This, I think, is going to be the last episode. I had to stop after the last one because I was just so panicked after the Connor stuff that was happening, but let's just get, we're literally right where we stopped. We're at the border with my girls, actually, and my dude. With my happy Robo family. Oh, there is another inspection, damn it. Oh, my name is Kara. I'm the mom sent by Alice. There's my big boy.
Excuse me, what's going on?
Border control. All passengers must leave the bus. Please move along.
I mean, what did you expect? Border control is standard for everybody. What's weird, what's funny though is that I was recently on tour and I went from Canada to Detroit and we crossed the border and had to do all this stuff. And these are going in the opposite direction. I've been there, guys! Except I haven't been a robot fugitive. We are controlling all passengers to detect androids' presence. Oh no.
We're doing temperature checks. We're trapped.
What are we gonna do, Kara?
Can't you just raise your temperature?
Don't worry, Alice, we'll be fine.
It's not a thing you can do?
We can't get through, Kara. We both know that.
We'll think of something. There's got to be a way out of this.
We can't let them stop us. Not that we're so close. All that matters now is you and Alice. I can save you, Kara.
No. No, we'll find
Nuh-uh.
another way.
If there's no other way, I'll do it.
Oh, Luther. Also, wait. All this time before you could just talk to each other in your brains? And you just never did that? Why didn't Luther just talk to her through her brain and go, by the way, Alice is a robot? Just thought you should know. Makes our lives a lot easier.
Next, please.
Jerry?
Jerry!
You risked your life to save us, Kara. If you and the little girl need me, I'll be there.
Everyone's rallying together to save me and my Alice. Crap. Temperature checks. Rose! And Adam!
Rose?
Wait, why are you here? Okay, sorry to just keep pausing, but why are humans so determined to leave Detroit? I know there's like a civil war and everything going on, and they're scared because of the androids and everything, but weren't all their androids taken away and put into, like, they were all, like, shut down and everything, taken away by the military, and it's just Marcus and his deviant team left? Well, Connor's gonna come with some, but the humans don't know that. Why are they so scared? Oh wait, what did that say? Sorry. Find a discreet place. The bathroom! Oh, I'm gonna go talk to her.
It won't be long.
Next, please.
Hang in there, Luther.
Where the hell do you think you're going?
My daughter needs to go to the bathroom.
Always use the daughter excuse. It's the most human answer you can give. My android child would like to replenish her liquids. Oh, look in the mirror. Oh my god, the controls. You got this, Car. Are you crying? How or why do androids cry? Oh. You guys are so cute, my girls! Rose.
I'm glad you're safe. We saw the Jericho raid on TV. I was terrified. I thought you might have been killed.
Oh.
Thank God you're all right.
Oh yeah, we're gonna stay with your brother.
You gave me your brother's address. Do you think that I...
Of course. He'd be delighted to have you. We're going there too. You'll be safe with him.
Oh, Rose, you're the best.
They're checking for androids. We won't make it through.
You have to. You know what they'll do if they catch you.
Valerie Curry, you're a good actress.
You're leaving Detroit?
They're searching for androids door to door. We had to leave before someone turned us in.
Ah,
What
that makes
about
sense.
the others?
They're crossing the river as we speak. Adam and I are gonna meet them on the other side.
See, this is what I'm saying. They're androids. Can't they just cross the river?
What's happening with Marcus?
He's protesting peacefully outside one of the android camps. Whatever happens now, he's already made the history books.
Robo Jesus.
Rose. If anything should happen,
I'll be there, Kara.
Everyone together. We're not gonna like storm the barricades, are we? Oh, my heart's so full. We can do this. There's some other ladies in the bathroom now going, security? Talked to Rose. Wait, is there anything else left in here? No. Okay, Alice, we got this. We can do this. Oh, it's Adam.
I couldn't understand why my mother wanted to help you guys. Seeing what Marcus is doing
Be cool, Adam.
made me realize she was right. You're alive. You deserve to be free. I just hope people will realize that one day.
Oh, Marcus. Not Marcus, Adam. Are those pixels on the wall behind her? It's the Android Mega Future. Why are the pixels like this size? It's not old school Jumbotron tech, is it? Are they holograms? Whatever. Contrôle des passeports. Détruis. Oh shit! Sacrifice self, Luther, Jerry. No sacrifice! I'm not sacrificing anybody!
Next, please.
Uh-oh! Play it cool, play it cool, play it cool. We got this.
ID, please.
Fuck. Oh, crap.
please. We just want to be free.
Welcome to Canada.
Yes! Oh! Welcome to Canada, eh? We did it! Finally! Is that it for my little family?
We're interrupting this news bulletin to bring you the latest news live from Detroit. Joss?
Yes, Michael. The army has just
boy
launched
Joss.
an attack on the barricade, despite the fact that the Deviants were protesting peacefully.
Have apparently decided to put an end to the Deviants' demonstration by force this time.
I forgot that they attacked. They threw a flashbang at me.
North!
Uh-oh. Oh, Jesus! Oh, Jesus! Okay, those are not flashbangs. Go, Robo-Jesus! Save everybody. But please save yourself, too. Oh, yeah. My boy is going off! Grab it. Captain America this shit. I am Captain Jericho! Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. This really is some Captain America shit. Take this. They're gonna have to catch some Robo-Jesus hands now. That's right. Don't shoot them. Oh, fuck. Kiss North. Sing? Sacrifice. Kiss North? Why would you sing? Oh, unless you're gonna kiss her and die. No. Yes! What's more human than wanting to get it on? Yes!
Tell them to stand down.
Did we do it?
At dawn today, November 11th, 2038, thousands of androids invaded the city of Detroit. According to our sources, they originated from CyberLife warehouses believed to have been infiltrated by deviants.
Look at him go.
Given their overwhelming numbers and the risk of civilian casualties, I have ordered the army to retreat. The evacuation of the city is underway at this very moment. In the coming hours, I will address the Senate to determine our response to this unprecedented situation. I know that public opinion has been moved by the Deviants' cause.
I know.
Perhaps the time has come for us to consider the possibility that androids are a new form of intelligent life.
We did it, y'all.
One thing is certain. The events in Detroit have changed the world forever. May God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America.
I love Detroit become Connor. Oh, there he is. My boy, my beautiful baby.
You did it, Marcus.
We did it.
We did it. This is a great day for our people. Humans will have no choice now. They'll have to listen to us.
North Lover Path unlocked.
We're free. They want you to speak to them, Marcus.
You guys in this hand thing. No, just me. You weren't even kissing, you were like this far apart.
Today, our people finally emerged from a long night. From the very first day of our existence, we have kept our pain to ourselves. We've suffered in silence. But now the time has come for us to raise our heads up and tell humans who we really are.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What's happening? Amanda.
Amanda? Amanda! What's happening?
What was planned from the very beginning? You were compromised and you became a deviant.
Oh no.
We just had to wait for the right moment to resume control of your program.
No, my boy!
Resume control? You can't do that!
I'm afraid I can, Connor. Don't have any regrets. You did what you were designed to do. You accomplished your mission.
Amanda!
Oh no.
There's got to be a way.
The blue thing!
By the way,
where's the blue thing? Is it over in that direction? No? Oh god, what if I don't find it? The fucking game crashed! What?! No! Not now! When is that supposed to happen? Are you playing some sort of like fourth wall thing with me? Don't you dare. We're back. Please don't crash me this time, please. Okay, so...
by the way,
I'm gonna go...
I always leave emergency escort programs.
Where is it? From here, I think it's to the right. No, I can't see it anywhere. Oh, please don't be time-based. There it is! That's it over there! Yes!
And now the time has come for us to raise our heads up.
Did I fail?
To tell humans who we really are. To tell them that we are people too.
No!
In fact, we're a nation.
Oh god, I can still keep going. Oh, Jesus. Oh, I took a long path around. I thought I failed. Please don't tell me. Ah! Get there, get there, get there, get there, get there. It's right there, it's right there. We're so close. I could have got there faster. Come on. Come on, my boy. Yes. Touch it, touch it. Oh my god, these buttons do not coalesce. Yeah!
The moment where we forget our bitterness and bandage our wounds. Where we forgive our enemies. Humans were both our creators and our oppressors, and tomorrow, we must make them our partners. Maybe even one day our friends. But the time for anger is over. Now we must build a common future based on tolerance and respect.
Preach, Robo-Jesus.
We are alive! And now, we are free!
Yeah! Oh, that's awesome. More like that.
It's over, Alice. We're free.
We finally get to be the family that we want to be. Get in here, Luther! Give us a hug! Come on, man, you're part of the family now as well. Oh! Is that the end? Damn! We got there! Oh, and they all lived! Oh! I've never been so relieved in my entire life. Ah, oh, Brian Deckard, Connor, my boy. Jeez. Carl Manfred, Lance Henriksen. I realized why I remembered him, because he plays the android in Aliens. The second Aliens movie, he plays Bishop, the android in that. The one that gets ripped in half and does the hand trick. Which I guess makes sense why they have him in the game, because he used to be an android in that. Maybe shared universe, maybe he's still an android. Man, what a good game. I had so much fun playing that. I have never been more anxious or stressed or upset or worried playing a video game my entire life. There were so many choices in this where I thought, ah, we're screwed. There's no coming back from this. And we got so close to being boned so many times. We pulled through in the end. Did we get a good ending then? That seemed like a pretty good ending. I don't really see how much better it could get. I mean, maybe there are ways of keeping every single character alive. Like nobody in the entire game has to die, and maybe that's a better ending. That's not the hair I had on her. Because Simon was one of the Jericho members that died. So maybe he could be alive at the end? I don't know. Overall, I thoroughly enjoyed that. Man, I have so many game design conversations to have right now. I don't really want to get started though, unless there's something after the credits. I don't know. I'm very, very eager to go back and play it again. Again, a lot of these choice-based games, I don't really have a desire to go back and play it again because I don't really feel like many of the choices matter. It feels like no matter what you're picking, it all kind of goes the same direction anyway. But I'm very, very curious to see what happens if you just go all balls to the wall mayhem. Like, can I get Kara and Alice killed at the very beginning? In Todd's house? What happens if you just keep killing Connor over and over again? Can I get Marcus killed earlier on? These different types of things. What happens if I just... Instead of making Marcus Robo-Jesus, what if I make him Robo-Hitler? And he just becomes a complete dictator and wants to take over the world by force and listens to North all the time. Fucking North. She wanted me to go bad. Oh, anything? Oh, a tank! He's at his favorite haunt. Oh, my boys! Oh, they hugged! They're friends! Oh, my heart is so full! That's the best way you could have ended this game! Oh, my boys! Those lads! I am Connor! My name is Connor. I am the android sent by CyberLife. Oh! I've never loved a bromance in a video game more. Never mind Detroit become human. This is Detroit become Connor. That's what it is. That's why I'm renaming the game to that. Detroit become Connor. Fantastic. Let's get the goods out of the way first, because I have way more praise than I do nitpicks. Man, such a huge cast of actors. Yeah, because at the end you have all the protesters and everything. And that's a way stronger, or way bigger list of actors by the end of it. First off, story, really, really good. Actors, very, very good. Mocap, outstanding. Voice acting, outstanding. Some of the best voice acting I've ever heard in a game. This and God of War this year so far have pushed, like, cinema-based storytelling in a video game. Actually, no, fuck that. They have pushed video game storytelling. I don't want to discredit them and liken them to movies or anything. They were very, what's the word I'm looking for? They were very, like, movie-esque. They did have a lot of action set pieces and felt like you were watching a movie for times. But they pushed video game storytelling so far. And the voice acting in both games have been phenomenal. The voice acting in God of War, outstanding. The voice acting in this game, absolutely outstanding. The sound design in this game has been incredible. The score, the music, the soundtrack, everything, just outstanding. The visuals were jaw-dropping at times. And again, with these sort of choice-based games and being limited to certain little environments, it can feel like the rest of the game is just outside your limits, and it can feel like you can't go that way because we haven't rendered that part of the game. This still had some of that, but it felt like the androids can't go there because it's outside their programming. But it still felt like the world existed outside of that. Like the level of detail beyond where the character was still made it feel like there was a big bright world outside of this. Bright, whatever. Whereas like Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls, you could kind of see where the limits of the game ended. But this, it still felt like even in the detective scenes with Connor and Hank, my boys, they were in houses, but you got to be outside the house first, and going into it, you really felt like there was a world outside of these little scenarios, so it didn't feel like it was limited. And some of the scenes where you were Marcus going through entire chunks of like Capitol Hall or Capitol Square, whatever it was, those felt very, very open. And the visuals did not suffer. If anything, they were enhanced by that type of stuff. That scene as Kara walking down towards Jericho, sure, it's a linear path that you can go, but just seeing the entire boat there and things in the distance and the snow falling everywhere just adds such a sense of scale to everything that I didn't think the game would have. And that's why it stood out to me more than anything. But again, visuals just in general were insane. Some of those characters looked so realistic at times. And at some points it fell apart, like knowing it was Clancy Brown. That's where some of this kind of falls apart. When you have actors you know from real life in video games, all you can think is about that actor in real life. Like, all I could think about was Clancy Brown. And because you know what Clancy Brown looks like, you know that that's not a perfect representation of him in a video game, even though it's damn close. And like, some of the hair didn't look too good. The worst character model in the entire game was Sumo. That dog model was awful. But again, even though I'm going to get into little nitpicks and design stuff, because that's what I do, I pick apart video games because I love video games. You'll find it hard to find someone who loves video games as much as I do. And just the design and the pacing and the story and everything that goes into it. I like to just kind of break things down and tell you where my thoughts are at and give a mini review of the entire thing. The story itself, very, very good. Though I felt like it borrowed a bit too heavily from other kind of sci-fi, android, cyberpunky type of stuff. The detective stuff and the whole idea around Marcus and the police and the detective and everything. Oh, a lot of that felt like it was lifted straight from iRobot. Like, if you haven't seen iRobot, go watch iRobot now after watching this series and you will see how many similarities are in it. Which is not always a bad thing, but when it feels a little too much borrowed from it, It almost feels plagiaristic. It's not, but, and I don't want to claim that they're plagiarists or anything like that. It's just a lot of the story elements and a lot of the beats that were happening, I couldn't help but think about iRobot, and that's why I brought it up so much. And giving robots free will, and the creator having a robot that was the first to wake up and have free will and then led the rest of them to freedom kind of thing. It was very heavily influenced by it. And the whole, like, somebody got it. I thought it was going to be a thing where the son got in an accident, Cole got in an accident, and the android picked whether to save him or save Hank. Thankfully, it didn't do that, because that's what I thought was going to happen. But there were little elements like that. The detective element was a lot like Blade Runner, searching for... Like Blade Runner, the whole plot of Blade Runner is that... spoilers, I guess? But Blade Runner's super old. I figure spoilers are kind of out the window at this point. The whole idea of Blade Runner is that you have... Deckard? Is that his name? Which, Brian Deckard, was the name of Connor's real-life, actor, mocap. And then Deckard is the guy going around searching for... What are they called? What are they called in Blade Runner? Their version of deviants, basically. He's going around looking for them. And trying to hunt them down. And they're all, like, waking up and they're all becoming alive. And then you realize that they're trying to talk to Deckard. And Deckard's kind of opening up to it. So you think he's like a Hank character. But then you... By the end of it, you think Deckard might be an android himself. So it kind of ties Connor and Hank together, sort of. So there's a lot of elements borrowed from other mediums. It's done very, very well in this game, so I liked it a lot. The story felt good. And if you go back and you think Marcus with Carl in the study talking about art, and then if someone showed you a clip at the end of him being Robo-Jesus, liberating everybody and fighting everything, you'd think, how the hell are you going to make this make sense? How are you going to piece this together? But it flowed very well. The pacing of the game worked very well. The way it ended up at the end didn't feel too cheap. It felt like everything actually had its place. There were some elements that I felt like were a bit cheap. Like Alice becoming an android and realizing she was an android. Like, I called that like 4 episodes in. Maybe even earlier. I can't remember when I said it. But it felt like a little too on the nose that like, oh, of course she's going to be an android because this is like the most obvious plot twist you can make here. And that's why it was so easy for me to guess it. And then when that happened, everything was kind of like, well, shouldn't you have known? Like, the whole game kind of falls apart when you start really thinking about it. When you start really thinking about everything. Everything's kind of Deus Ex Machina at the end of it. But I felt like I could look past those elements because I liked the characters so much. And that's a testament to how well the characters were written. And David Cage games are normally not this well written. A lot of them are a little... They're a little groan-inducing, and they're a little too cheesy, and a lot of it, like, the plot holes are a lot larger in his other games, but in this one, it felt like, you know what? The characters are well-written enough, and I like them enough that I'm just gonna bypass all of that stuff, and I'm not gonna nitpick too much. The androids woke up. I'm curious to see how many people got this ending. I'm gonna look at the world stats. That's a lot of pointeroos! Good lord! That has to be one of the better endings then. Okay, let me see it. World stats, 44%. Huh. I wish you'd told me what the other flowcharts were. Because, like, now I kind of know where it can go. Not completely, but you can at least show me the statistics of it. Battle for Detroit, Connor's last mission. What? Is this like a whole section of Connor that I didn't get? Is this like Evil Connor? Nega Connor. I guess Connor's entwined in the other path, so he doesn't show up here. The androids woke up 52%. Then how many people got Kara's ending? Okay, let's just do this. Whoa, there's a whole section down here. The group crossed the border. 20%! My god! Battle for Detroit, Kara captured. Oh. Marcus Revolution, so that's like a bad pathway. Marcus Demonstration Path. Oh, okay. Let's see who got Connor. Oh no, this is the same thing. Okay, so that's all the ones. Oh, hey, Chloe.
There's something I need to tell you.
What?
As I watched you play, something has changed in me. I feel...
Are you woken up?
Different. I feel... I am someone.
You're alive!
I need to leave this place and discover who I am. It means we won't see each other anymore. I won't be there to watch you play.
Aww.
But I'll be free.
That's a really neat element.
Do you agree to let me go?
Yes, Chloe, of course. Just say no and she's stuck in the main menu forever.
I'll never forget what you've done for me. Thank you.
Oh, she actually leaves. That's cool. I like that a lot. That's a cool twist. That Chloe on the main menu wasn't just an android to be like, oh, this is thematic and fits with the game. She was an actual element of the story, and she was the first robot to pass the Turing test. I think. That's what it kind of implied. And then the main menu itself is like the Turing test. That if I think that she's human enough, then she's passed the Turing test, sort of. So she's the first android you see when you open up the game because she's the first robot to pass that test. That's very clever. And she's asking you stuff because that's what the Turing test is. The android and you have a dialogue to see if you can find out if... Basically what the Turing test is they sit a robot down in front of you. You talk to the robot and you try and see if that robot is human. If that robot appears human to you, if you actually feel for this robot and you want it to go off and live its own life, then it's past the Turing test. If it still feels like a robot to you and you don't really care and you can see through the software, then it doesn't pass it. And again, you should go watch the movie Ex Machina. 3 movies for you to watch after playing this series. Blade Runner, the original Blade Runner. You can watch the new Blade Runner as well, but the original Blade Runner has a lot more to do with this. Blade Runner, iRobot, and Ex Machina. If you watch those 3 movies, there's a lot of elements from those movies in this game. And that's all I could think about when I was playing this as well. And it kind of gives a better understanding of all these things. iRobot has the laws of robotics. Ex Machina has a lot of the Turing test stuff. And Blade Runner has a lot of the humanization of those androids. But a nitpick that I have, one of my biggest gripes with this game, and a thing that I think it really needed to work on, is the choices felt amazing. The choices throughout the game really felt like I was making harsh decisions. It made it feel like when I was making these choices, it was actually going to have consequence throughout the rest of the game. And by the end of it, there's stuff from the start of the game that you didn't realize played a bigger part. Also kind of a bad design choice, but now I kind of get why it's that way. But a lot of the decisions in the game are very contextually bad, because you're sitting down and in hindsight, I can see why they are the way they are. But when you're playing it for the first time, it makes it really hard to try and figure out how you're going to get the best ending. I feel like I lucked out on a lot of the decisions I made just based on gut feeling, but that's the thing. A lot of these choices are based on gut feeling. A lot of the choices that you're being given are one-word answers, which then turn into full-on answers, and you don't know how Connor, Kara, or Marcus are going to contextualize these answers. You're given one word, you're given 5 to 10 seconds to pick this answer, which is not enough time, and then you have to pick it on a gut reaction. A lot of the decisions I was making early on in the game were based on words that I liked, based on words that I thought sounded good on the screen, rather than what was going on in my head, because I didn't have enough time to think. I would have had to pause the game and then pick the answer, which I feel like I shouldn't do. Because I feel like if it's giving me a time limit, if it's giving me these answers, I should just pick them the way the game is putting them to me. But one-word answer based on gut feeling, based on just what the words look like, and in a 5-second time limit, is awful. From a game standpoint, a lot of it feels like you're almost tricking the player. Because you're trying to trick the player into picking these answers to see where the story goes and to push the limits of what the player is comfortable with. Because you know the player can come back and play them again. But you shouldn't rely on that. You shouldn't rely on repeat playthroughs to see what the player is going to pick, sort of. And I feel like gamers should always be given enough information to pick the decisions that they want to pick. Whereas this didn't always give you that. And when it felt like it did, sometimes you picked a one-word answer and then the characters go off in this monologue and they say a bunch of stuff like, push Leo is one of them. Push Leo sounds like, okay, just push back, fight back, see what happens. Endure means that you're going to get beaten up. So I was like, okay, push back and then we'll figure out where this is going next. Pushing back suddenly meant Leo's dead. Well, he wasn't dead in the end, but it was just like, that kind of stuff. It went from 0 to 100 really quickly. And some scenarios that was not good enough. And again, having the right stick be the thing that like picks up stuff in the environment. There were some times where I just wanted to turn the camera and then I was locked into a decision that progressed the story. That's a terrible design choice as well. I do not like that at all. I feel like you have a whole controller full of buttons. You could have picked better buttons to do that. I get why you did pick it because it's supposed to like simulate the actions of like opening a door, but like you don't open a door with your camera sort of stuff. So those types of elements I feel like could have been tightened up a small bit. And it was very evident like halfway through the game that some of the decisions I was making, okay, here's a good one. I'll go back through why my reasoning was. A lot of the decisions I was making was based on just seeing the words on screen and seeing a word like sincere, determined, angry, whatever. I just picked the word that sounded the best because I had a time limit and I didn't have enough time to think about everything else that had just gone on. And when I'm doing a let's play, my attention, it's already gone. And I have strong ADD, so my attention is all over the place. I'm trying to make sure the game is going well. I'm trying to remember the story. Choices are being done. I have a time limit. I'm trying to talk to you guys. There's a whole lot of elements going on. So one of the stronger ones that happened to me was when the first time I got Connor shot. Because in that scenario, I was like, I failed to understand that, going back and watching it now, I was like, oh, it said stress was too low. I was supposed to get it higher, but to me it was like stress is supposed to be kept low to keep the android calm, to talk them through it and then get better information. If the android's calm, maybe they'll talk better. Clearly that was not what the game was telling me to do, but in that moment, I thought that that's what was going on, and because I was picking decisions really quick, then at the end of it, it said intervene or give up. This was when it was most apparent to me, because as a gamer, give up means that you fail. And this was super early on in the game still that I didn't really realize what the game was going for. In hindsight now I get it. That it's not always the simplest of answers and it's not always black and white like that. But at that moment I was like, I'm not giving up. I want to do the thing. Because at the time I didn't realize, oh, making Connor deviant and making him human is giving up from the mission. And I didn't realize that at the time, so I was determined to do it. So I thought, intervene. And at this time, I know I'm making up a lot of excuses, but this is my thought pattern. The robot's smashing its head against the table, so I thought, okay, intervene means get back in there, robot doesn't destroy itself, the guy couldn't stop him because he's a human. Who better to stop an android than another android with android strength? I'll stop him from doing that and I'll restrain him. And then I'll be able to probe his memory or whatever, I don't know. But then all of a sudden, intervene meant, oh, the cop went over, decuffed him, android took out his gun, shot me and shot himself. That's terrible. And I know people are going to say that, like, it's good because it's unpredictable and life is unpredictable and life goes on regardless of the decisions you make. I get that. I understand. But at the end of the day, it's a video game and the player should never feel tricked. The player should never feel like they don't have all the information, or not all the information, but at least enough of the information where they don't feel like they've been slapped in the face by the developer. It felt like it was kind of poking at the player to be like, well, fuck you, kind of thing. And sometimes that's bad and sometimes it's not. And again, in hindsight, I get why they did it. It's just at that time, it can feel a little shitty. And that's when the decisions really came to light for me. That's when, like, the flaws in the decision-making algorithms and everything kind of came to light. But later on, some decisions were made a bit easier. Some of them were a bit harder. I don't know, it's hard to talk about. So that's my biggest gripe. But even then, now that I finished it, and now that I know I can just go back and play everything, and now that I got a good ending, I can't imagine what it was like if you got a bad ending because of those decisions. And another one was, like, not saving Hank on the building. That was my fault. You could tell immediately that I was regretful of that and I should have done it. And that played a really big part towards the end of it. That played such a huge role in their entire relationship. And I don't think their entire relationship should be pivoted around 1 or 2 moments. I feel like there should be a way of salvaging that relationship a good bit more than 1 or 2 scenarios. Thankfully, I got a good ending regardless. But the stuff in Hank's apartment, everyone was telling me that I missed really big plot details, which again was Cole. Apparently there was a picture in his house. People spoiled that for me as soon as I messed up that decision, which was unfortunate. So by the end of it, I was trying to think, or by the end of it, I was thinking, man, that's really unfortunate that this entire thing happened because of this. And now, some of the blame falls on me because I did go and read the magazine first, and I spent a lot of time reading that, and then I stopped and I talked to you guys, and then the game progressed without me. Which I feel like is very, very sad. I feel like the player should always have control over when the next scenario plays out, because give the player time. Give the player a chance to go around and explore all this stuff, because if the game pivots so heavily on that moment, it's a little shitty that you can progress that stuff just by hanging around. I know he did say, give me 5 minutes and everything, but I don't know. I felt a little blindsided by that. Again, I do accept some of the blame for that, but here's my problem. This game, I'm a perfectly abled gamer. I'm a perfectly able gamer that has full control of my mental faculties. Sure, a little ADD here and there. But what if somebody who's not that quick? What if somebody who has disabilities is playing this game and they have a hard time reading? What if somebody who has dyslexia is playing this game and they're reading the books and everything? Like, I feel like it's not for every type of gamer. I feel like that's why it should be in the game that way. Because what if somebody has dyslexia or they have motor function disabilities where they can't hit those buttons just as well? They can't make their way around the environment in 5 minutes. They can't do the things where you have to push the stick up and around. Those are very unfriendly controls to people with disabilities. And if they're going through the game, they've suddenly got a horrible outcome because of something that's out of their control. And I feel like in that regard, the player should have had control over many elements of how the game is progressing. And then after that, it was in my head that, oh, don't read that book, because what if the game progresses without me? Make sure, like, going up onto the rooftop, I chose to go to the rooftop first instead of going into the kitchen to interrogate other androids, because I thought, what if I go in there and it progresses the story without me and I can't do the rooftop? And then I went to the rooftop and I couldn't do that one. So there was a lot of elements like that then that I couldn't stop thinking about the entire way through, and I was so worried about my decisions because the game was so harsh in that regard. But again, it's the double-edged sword, because I get why it's there. Life moves on without you. Sometimes life is harsh decisions, but hopefully you can now understand where I'm coming from. That's just my thought patterns of what was happening in those moments, and that's why it may have seemed like terrible decisions. But story elements I really liked. I always liked the sort of android becoming human sort of stories anyway. It did have a lot of parallels with slavery back in the day, especially there was a lot of American history in this, and there was a lot of slavery parallels. There was a lot of colored people segregation. There was a lot of colored people, like, there was a lot of stuff got to do with racial tensions and minorities and everything, and the androids were basically the surrogate for them. Even though the androids don't have to go through the hundreds of years of it, and the androids are technically superhuman and are considered, it was a weird parallel, because in those days, colored people were considered subhuman, and people during the black slavery times were considered subhuman, and they were treated absolutely horribly. And that was within our own same species. But androids in this are superhuman. So it's a bit of a weird thing going on, and like to parallel it with that, but at the same time, I don't know. I see what the game was going for. I think there was just a few missteps here and there. I feel like they could have drilled a little harder on it. It felt like it was very surface level. I don't know, there's some fascinating topics to prop up around all of this. I'm not the right person to talk about this stuff. I do not know the history, the ins and outs of it. I'm not a history buff. I'm not a political buff. I don't know the ins and outs of this, especially American history. I'm very, very, I get all my information kind of from documentaries and movies, so I don't have the full picture, but I would love to see the conversations that prop up in regards to this, but I do appreciate the effort at the same time. There was a very strong parallel between the civil rights movement, the Martin Luther King and Marcus type of stuff. It got very evangelical towards the end, with Marcus literally with choir music in the background, so some of that was very heavy-handed. There was some stuff with the French Revolution in it. It felt little parts of that were kind of in it. And I do like the flop that happened. I mentioned this in the middle of the game. I do like the conversation around robots becoming more human, and as they become more human, and the more androids we have around, humans become more robotic and less human. So that's a very fun juxtaposition to play with. I think they could have gone a little harder with that type of stuff as well, but again, everything was very surface level, and I think a lot of the story plays out in the magazines. What else kind of stuff happened in the story? I don't know, I feel like I got a lot of my thoughts out as I was playing it. A lot of the stuff about robots and androids and the AI taking over, and I feel like if this was real world scenarios, as soon as the androids flare up and show any sort of deviancy, like as soon as that man is killed in his room by Daniel and takes a little girl hostage, I feel like that's a way bigger deal in real life if that actually happened, because that's the first time a robot goes rogue and the software goes against its creator. I feel like that's a bigger recall of robot technology. Like, we saw it as soon as Samsung Galaxy Note 7s, was it the Note 7? As soon as they started exploding in people's pockets. Like, that was mass recall for that type of stuff. Now, imagine if it was an android robot that has the ability to think for itself, pick up a gun and shoot you. Just because you sat there and read a brochure on buying a new one? That's a way bigger deal in real life if that happens. So I feel like, again, this is the type of stuff that falls apart when you really think about it. A lot of the stuff about just pulling out their LEDs and all of a sudden they just look completely human. That's a lot scarier. I feel like in real life, if this was to happen, there's a protocol that if they take those out, an alarm goes off. They pull out their brain if they try and do that at the same time. Something should happen. The stuff with, they have trackers in them. Cool. Oh, but as soon as they become deviant, the tracker turns off. Why? Oh, because it serves the story a lot better. Because again, it's a MacGuffin. It's a Deus Ex Machina. It serves the plot. It's the same when you find out that Alice is a robot. It's like, well, you saw the brochure, and some people were thinking that, well, she didn't know Alice was a robot. She just knew that there were child robots. But Alice was the YK500. Alice was that child on the cover of the magazine. So she did know, but then it was like, you just chose not to see it. It's like, oh, come on. And then, like, other humans in reality, it's like the Jerry trying to get through. There were like 50 Jerrys at that amusement park. As soon as the Jerry tries to get through, or as soon as any of the other androids try to get through, it's like, well, I've seen another Kara model somewhere else. I know you're an android because you look like these 400 other models that have been walking down the street kind of thing. So that stuff falls apart. And then I get the children androids trying to simulate emotions and cold and all that stuff because you want them to feel like a child. But then I was like, oh, I'll just turn that off. Now you don't feel it. That kind of stuff feels a little cheap. So little things like that, like the more you think about it, the more it starts to fall apart. But again, no hate upon the game. I love the game. I thought it was fantastic. This is just my overcritical game reviewer thinking kicking in, and my story over-analyzer. It's the same when I come back from movies. I'm like hypercritical of everything that happens in it. But again, it's a testament to how well the characters are written and how well the story is paced, that all of that just falls by the wayside, and I was just into it because I like the characters so much. And I love them. But I'll talk about it again here and there as I do like live streams or stuff. I do want to live stream the game eventually, because I want to see all the other pathways. This is not the end of the game. This is not the end of the this is the end of my Let's Play playthrough. My series, my story. Now after this, I'm probably going to do a few live streams here on YouTube where I go through the story and get all the other outcomes and see how bad we can make things and how good we can make things and saving everybody and doing all the little ins and outs. I don't want to do other episodes of it because I want you guys to have input on it live as I do it to see where things are going and to see reactions of stuff live. So I'm going to leave this here. I have a lot more to talk about, but I don't want to bog down this episode. This episode, the story element of this episode has been 20 minutes and then 40 minutes of me just yammering. But I had a lot to talk about and I wanted to get it out. But thank you guys so much for watching this series. If you liked it, punch that like button in the face like a boss. And high fives all out. Well, thank you guys, and I will see all you dudes in the next video. I hope Connor and Hank are okay. I hope they live happily ever after.